What's going on, everybody? Hope everyone's hunting season's going well. While I was making this video, I lost a whole bunch of footage. I had footage of the whole rut. I had bucks fighting, bucks chasing does, just the whole 9 yards of what you expect the rut to be, but I lost this footage. But I was able to find my most important video from the whole rut, and I'll show it to you right now. So after I shot this deer, he ran to about 80 yards and he just stood there. And he kind of had this wobble to him, and he stood there for a solid 10 minutes before he slowly trotted another 5 or so yards, and then he bedded down. He laid in his first bed, I'm going to say for about 10 minutes, and then he stood up, looked around, and then he bedded back down within a 2-3 yard radius. And he did this 2 or 3 other times, and then I'm just watching him, and this whole sequence here is taking about 20-30 minutes. And then one time he stands up and he just has his head straight down to the ground, not sniffing, just has his head down. And then he just slowly works his way through this thick marsh. And this whole time lapse probably was about 45 minutes after my shot. So I had a couple things to think about. Tomorrow is the opening day for gun season here in Minnesota, so I was really going back and forth if I tried to push and look for him and risk bumping him, or if I let him lay overnight and then somebody else in the public land finds him. So I was in quite a pickle. I slowly packed up my stuff, got down, and I really wanted to find my arrow, see what I found. And I did find my arrow right at impact, and I saw it was covered in dark blood, and I think there might have been some stomach matter on the arrow. And I had a small blood trail for about 5 yards, and I was following his trail, trying to figure out where he went, just to get an idea before dark hit, because I had another good hour and a half before dark hit, and I could not find any blood, but I wanted to get to where he stood and see if I can find any blood there. And I got there and I found a pool of blood, which I was kind of expecting and hoping to find. So I'm pinning that on my phone, trying to remember it, so when I get out of here I know where to start in the dark. And while I'm pinning that, I hear some rustling in the thick stuff, and I look and I see he's bedded within about 30-40 yards of me, and I can kind of see his antlers, but it's so thick I really can't see. So I'm trying to do a sneak attack, trying to sneak another arrow into him, and I get to about 5 yards from him, and all I have is about a window of this big to sneak a second arrow into him in his spine. And I did not like that shot. And he doesn't know, he can't really see or know I'm there, because he really can't figure me out. But I'm trying to sneak up on him. I'm downwind of him, so he can't smell me and he really can't see me. And I'm trying to figure out another shot angle to get another shot. And while I'm trying to figure that out, he gets up and he bolts, and he's running, and he runs into a little shrub bush, and he just smokes it, and then he kind of staggers, and then he jumps through this grass, and I lose him. So that was frustrating. It sucked. Not what I had planned. I was hoping to find a dead deer, but I went back and I put my arrow in his last bed to mark it for last blood, so when we come back in the dark that we have a place to start. But when I did try to sneak up on this deer, I did see his tongue hanging out of his mouth, and it looked like he was about to expire about any minute. But I wanted to get out of there, maybe give him some more time, and then trying to think of a game plan. So like I said, I stuck my arrow in his bed with a lighted knock to come back. So I gathered all my gear, got out of the woods, went back home, grabbed some food. I also grabbed my neighbor across the street from me, who I'm forever thankful for. He helped me out big time with this whole process. We both got back out to the woods, and we got to impact, followed that blood, found the pool of blood, got to that, and then we got to my arrow, and we were searching and searching, and we can't find any more blood except for a little itty bitty speck about 5 yards where I believe he took off and he ran away, and just found that one little itty bitty speck of blood. And we're just grid searching, looking for more blood in his bed, around his bed, I mean, and we just can't find anything. And like I said, the next day is gun opener in Minnesota here, so I wanted to keep looking. I was able to talk to a blood tracker. I was very interested and wanted to hear his opinion about the whole situation, and he said with the given circumstances, you don't want to do it, but you almost have to do it because the next day is gun opener. You almost got to push and got to go find him. But this guy was unable to help me because he had a hunting trip planned with his son, so he wasn't able to come help with the dog. But he said you got to go find him. So what we did is there's 2 deer trails that led out of this area and went to a different thick area. So my neighbor took one, I took the other, and we did not find any blood. But these trails did come together. So when we came together, we got into this little thick area, and I said, we can just search this area, and if we don't find him, we should just get out, because the blood tracker did say he could help me the next afternoon. So I said, we'll search this 20, 25 yard area, and if we don't find him, we are getting out of here. So we started from left to right, and I start walking, and I think I see this big log tipped over, and sure enough, it is my deer. He is like laying on his stomach with his legs sprawled out. I was excited that we found him, but I was very confused on why he was positioned like that. And I get up to him, and the coyotes got to him. The coyotes got to his hindquarters, and they also got to his gut area. I know coyotes are a problem out here. I hear them all the time. I've seen them a few times while in the tree stand, but I was happy we found a dead deer. And so the long process begins. We gutted them out, took a few pictures, and we had, I'm going to say, pushing a 1.25 1.5 mile drag out through some thick, gnarly stuff. Like I said before, I'm forever thankful for my neighbor. He was a big help on getting this deer out of the woods. I also will probably be investing into a deer cart because this was brutal. So a couple things we should probably break down here. Number 1, shot placement. This deer was hard quartering 2, and when he spotted me in the tree, I knew that was probably going to be my chance to shoot or let him go. My first instinct was I had my pin right on his chest, and I was trying to center punch him. That was my first idea of my shot placement. But I have seen recent videos and heard too many horror stories. So at the last second, I was trying to tuck one with the shoulder and hopefully hit one lung. But if you watch in the video, he ducks me super hard and my arrow hits high and back. So that wasn't ideal, but when the shot hits, it's not your classic crack and pop sound. It sounds pretty spongy. But I knew I hit him hard the way he kind of like ducked his hindquarters and booked it. And the way he stood there made me think that he was injured pretty bad, because he was stood there, like I said, for about 10 minutes, and he would flicker his tail every once in a while. So I thought I hit him hard, but I was very questioning my shot after I heard that impact. But hit me in the comments what you think I should have done for shot placement, if I should have seen if he would take another step and went broadside, or do I pass on the whole situation? Next thing to break down, when should I have gone searching for this deer? Like I said, the next day is gun season, and I don't want somebody finding my deer and taking it. Another thing is coyotes. Like I said before, they're a problem out here. And also my shot placement. I know it wasn't the best shot, wasn't the best hit. So do I get out of there right away, or do I do what I did and find blood, track him, and then come back later and find him? I'm not sure what the right answer is, because the hardest thing for me was letting this deer stay and getting eaten by coyotes, which he did, or letting him sit overnight and trying to find him in the morning, where somebody else could have found him before I did because it's public land. So to me it was a toss up, but then I really said I really want to find this deer before somebody else does. So that's why I pushed. And if it wasn't gun season the next day, I would have just got down and went home and tried looking for him the next day. But like I said, the next day is gun season, so it adds a whole nother element to the whole situation. But like what happened, I did jump him while I looked for blood, which was unfortunate. But we did end up recovering a deer, so that was the best result. So I'd like to know your opinion on the given circumstances. Hit me up in the comments. Do you go searching for him? Do you go home? Do you have a different idea? Let me know. I'm very curious on what other people would have done with my given situation. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. I'm super thankful for my harvest. Happy we found a dead deer. But anyways, happy November, and I hope everyone's having a great year. Hopefully you can get your target buck, and I'll see you next time.